everybody, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm so glad you guys are here today. It's time for a brand new Now, Wow, or Holy Cow card. Guys, I love this series. It allows me to show 3 different versions of a card. Depending on how much time you have, I've got a card that's going to fit your needs. I am very excited to share these cards made with the Beary Cute bundle, that sweet little polar bear you may have seen in the September through December Stampin' Up mini catalog. Are you ready to get started? Yep, me too. Let's head over to the stamping table.
All right, so it's Christmas time. We kind of need a variety of Christmas cards, don't we? We need some that we can make now. We have some that we want to be a wow. And then we need some that are a holy cow, right? Well, that's what we're going to do today with the Beary Cute bundle. So you can see the cover of the front of all my cards are pretty much the same, but we've got a card. This can be made now. Super fast, quick, easy, write your message. You're going to need lots of those for maybe, neighbors, coworkers, things like that. But you want to really impress somebody. You're looking to go for a wow card. What about something like this? So this is a fun one. We've got a little embossing here. We've got our little polar bear there inside. That's a really great wow card. But maybe you've got that mother-in-law. She is impossible to impress. I got you. Look at this. Woo! That is the holy cow Christmas card. Warm wishes, our little polar bear. This fabulous little tunnel card is going to knock her socks off. So, as always, friends, I've got a free download that goes along with the video, so there is no need to write down any measurements. I've got the measurements for all 3 cards, photos of all 3 cards, the complete supply list. If you need to come back and watch my video again, click or scan the QR code. And of course, if you'd like to order maybe the Beary Cute stamp set, you can do that right here. Guys, anything's going to work with this Now Wow or Holy Cow card. But if you're really ready to get started with some super cute Christmas cards, Beary Cute is the way to go. We are going to begin with our Now card. You don't need a lot to create this card. I have got a balmy blue card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So that's going to fit into a medium-sized envelope. We have got 2 pieces of Misty Moonlight, 3 3/4 by 5, 2 pieces of basic white, 3.5 by 4 3/4. As I said, we're going to use the Beary Cute bundle today. I love polar bears. They just make me so happy. And this stamp set is such a fun one. Of course, we've got the matching punch. So no fussy cutting of our polar bear. Oh, nay. We are going to go with the punch. Now, we're only going to use 2 ink pads today as well. Misty Moonlight and Balmy Blue. Again, very, very simple. We are going to start with our sentiment. Christmas is better together. By the way, guys, the front of all my cards, they are all going to be created the same way. So this design is what we're going to have on the front of all of our cards. I'm going to stamp a Christmas tree outline here on the side. And this one has a 2-step. So let's bring in our Balmy Blue and let's add a little icy Christmas tree going there. I'm going to also bring in this little snowflake, and we're just going to stamp some snowflakes all around our sentiment. Now for that polar bear. I've got just a scrap piece of some basic white. I'm going to stamp my polar bear, slide that into my punch. You notice I'm using it upside down. That way I can line everything up and we will give him a little punch. I've adhered that onto the front of my card base. I did take my little polar bear and I added him with some Stampin' Dimensionals. There's a couple minis there and a couple normal sized ones. Let me just show you the inside. It's exactly the same measurements as the outside. I just simply stamped Merry Christmas, added a couple snowflakes. Guys, that card can be made in a matter of minutes. But let's go ahead and create a wow card. So now to create our wow card, we're going to need some different pieces of cardstock. We're going to start here with the balmy blue. So that is the same card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have another piece of balmy blue, and this is 5 1/4 by 8 inches. We'll do a little scoring on that. I've got Misty Moonlight, 3 3/4 by 5, and then I have these two pieces that are 2 1/8 by 5 1/4, and two pieces of basic white. I have a 3 1/2 by 4 3/4 and a 3 3/4 by 5. You're also going to need a little scrap so you can punch out, stamp and punch out a polar bear. All right, now you already know how to make the front of the card. So we're going to work here on the inside. Start with that 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to put this into my paper trimmer to do a tiny score. I want you to put it at the 1 7/8. And guys, a light score. Don't crease down really heavy. We just want to kind of lightly be able to see that score line. I'm going to bring in that Misty Moonlight ink pad again. And up here at the top, we're going to say, Merry Christmas. Just center that up from side to side. Now let's come in. We're going to add some of our Christmas trees. And I'll tell you what, this first one I'm going to add right there in the middle. And then I'll kind of bring one down and off a little bit. And same here, just off a tiny little bit. And now in the balmy blue, let's fill in our trees. We'll add some snowflakes. And now I'm going to give that a bend right down that very light little score line that we made. That's going to make kind of our pop-up. All right, let's take another piece, that piece of our balmy blue. This was the one that was 5 1/4 by 8 inches. We're going to do a little scoring, and it's very easy. 2 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches. I'm going to accordion fold my balmy blue cardstock, and so you can kind of see this is where our pop-up image will go. So we're going to want adhesive on the flat panels, okay? So you see we have our mountain there in the middle. I'm going to actually just start with one end. And guys, this is a trick you've heard me mention several times, and that is we're not going to adhere anything down really press down until we're sure we have it where we want it. So I'm just going to lightly place this cardstock, and I'm lining it up on 3 sides. Again, I'm not going to press that down very hard because we want to make sure everything's going to go where it needs to be. I'll add adhesive here, and what I'm going to do is, you notice I'm going to fold everything down, and I'm going to bring my card base over. I want to look and make sure everything looks pretty good. I think I could straighten this side out a little bit if I wanted to, but we just want to make sure everything's going to fold. All right, I am happy with that. And since I am, I can give that a back rub, and that portion of my card is done. Remember our little fabulous image here? We're going to add this to, we're going to add this to our little pop out here. And that's just going to adhere right down there, just like I did before. I think I'm going to start with one end. I'm going to kind of get that first one lined up, make sure everything's working good. I think that's going to work great. So I can now just lift this up, and we'll put adhesive here on the other side. Pop and fold. Let's see what we got. Yes, we got it. All right. Now for me, this was a little too blah for me. I wanted to spruce it up. So let's take these pieces of our Misty Moonlight, and you can see they are going to fit right inside here. See how that's going to work? But I didn't want them to be this dull. So how about we do a little embossing? So I'm going to bring in the Snowflake Sky embossing folder, and I'm going to add my 2 pieces of Misty Moonlight. Let's run that through our die cutting and embossing machine. And now you can see we can just add these pieces right inside our card. So we're going to hide that panel that's kind of underneath. It just kind of dresses it up. Now remember, we need a polar bear. Always need a polar bear. But I want you to be aware of something. We don't want that bear. We don't want his nose sticking out, right? We got to be able to mail this card. So it's a little tight in there. Not to worry. If you will just line up his little tushy, his little hiney, and just put it right in that scored area, you're going to be just fine. I am going to avoid the nose because it's going to kind of stick off and out. We like that. So I'm going to put my little bear, like I said, his little hiney, the whole flat side of that's going to go, and he's nice and hidden. And of course, the front of our card, we are all good and ready to go. All right, that is a wow card. But now we are going to go all out. Oh my goodness, we're going, holy cow. I just can't believe I made that card. Here we go with holy cow.
Don't forget about your free download. I have that available for you at simplysimplestamping.com, or you can look down in the YouTube description for a direct link. Just look for the little blue box that says grab your download here. All right, let's move on to our last card, our holy cow card.
These measurements are the same as our wow card. So 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This was the piece that was 8 inches by 5 1/4, scored at 2, 4, and 6. Remember, we did those very faint lines. All right, here's what we're going to do. First thing, you know, we had our front image, but I'm going to do something before I put this one together. I'm going to take a deckled circle. Have you guys seen these deckled circles? Look at the size of the largest one. Oh my gosh, it's fabulous. I am in love with these dies. So I'm going to use, in this case, I'm going to, if I can pick it up, the 3rd and the 4th. All right, so I'm going to start with those. With the 4th, so with the little bit larger one, I'm going to die cut myself a circle from behind my Misty Moonlight. All right, that's been cut. So now I'm ready to add that focal image. Remember, they were all the same. And we're going to add that onto the front of our card base. Now with this smaller one, I just need to make sure I have just a big enough scrap because this is just going to make a little circle. I'm going to take Misty Moonlight, ink up Warm Wishes. There we go. I'm going to take that a little bit smaller die. Let's die cut our Warm Wishes. And then I'm just going to adhere those together. I'm going to set this off to the side for a minute because now we're going to work on that amazing pop-up. And for the inside, we're going to do stamping. So I'm going to take my balmy blue ink pad. And remember earlier we had that smaller snowflake? Well, there's a little bit bigger one too. And I'm actually going to put both of those on a block at the same time. That way I can stamp a little bit quicker. And friends, we are just going to stamp snowflakes all over our cardstock. All right, we're all stamped up and gorgeous. Remember how we did the fold just a little while ago where we scored into kind of a mountain and a valley? So we had that mountain in the middle. We're going to do that again. And now that we have that, let's bring in our deckled circles once again. And let's see, I believe it's this one here. Nope, that one was too big. Let's go down a size. Perfect. So this one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 6th from the smallest. I do want to walk you through how to do the cutting on this one. So I have got base plate 1, thin die adapter 2, cutting plate 3. I'm going to lay my cardstock on here, and because my card's opening this way, I don't want to center it in the card actually. I want to bring it down. So I've got maybe about 1 inch down here at the bottom. Of course, you can easily see your little score lines, and you want to center up that circle in between those score lines. I will now add top plate 3, and let's run that through our machine. We have our circle cut, and you can see how our image is going to go there. We're ready to add this to the inside of the card, but before we do, we need to add an image for our tunnel. That's just a little blah, right? So I'm going to show you a fun way we're going to add our image to the inside. We're going to come back in with those trees, and we are going to just kind of randomly stamp. Honestly, it's very much like the wow card, except on this one, we really don't need that Merry Christmas. It's not going to show. But we will go ahead and fill in our trees, and of course, adding some snowflakes, and those will be there in the balmy blue. Now, you remember on our previous one, we scored it at 2 inches. This one, friends, we are going to cut it at 2 inches. All right, we're just going to slice that one in two. I'm going to add these to the center of my card, and they're not quite going to touch. I kind of like that little, just that little hint of my fold in between. All right, I just kind of like that. All right, this piece here, we want the wider part up at the top. And do you remember how we added this to the inside of a card? We're going to do that again. And just like before, don't press anything down until we're sure we have it right where we want it. So we'll fold that down, bring our card over. I want to make sure everything looks centered. It does. That looks great. Give that the back rub. Okay, now if this is going to be a holy cow, we're going to really go all out holy cow. I'm going to take my Pearlized Enamel Effects Basics, and this is the white, and wait till you see what this stuff does. You know what? In fact, before I even start, I'm going to get it started here on a little scrap. Okay, I want to make sure the product is flowing. I am touching the cardstock and just kind of tapping a few times, and that's going to give me this really great pearlized look. Now you're going to do these to all of your snowflakes, and then if you want, I'm just barely pressing the bottle to add a few more. You're going to do that all over, all right? I've got to let this dry, so I cannot close up my card right now because you're going to want to cover all of these with the gorgeous pearlized effect. Look at that. It's a big bottle. It's a whole ounce, and that it's a little bottle, but it goes a long way because look at just the great effect, and it doesn't take a lot. But I'll tell you what, since this card is wet, I'm going to bring in my finished card. So you notice we have our little polar bear on the front. I actually added some jewel rhinestones to the front of this one. But you know what? I could have easily gone ahead and just used the pearlized effects as well. That one is entirely up to you. I just like a little sparkle. Let me show you the inside of this one. This is what it looks like with all the pearlized being dry. You see I added my warm winter wishes. There's my sweet little polar bear. I also did a little Merry Christmas here. Guys, that is a holy cow card, let me tell you. Now, yes, we have created Christmas cards, right? But I hope that you can see you have so many options beyond Christmas with this Now Wow or Holy Cow. Get creative with what you have. What could be that little focal images? I don't know. Time to look at your stamp shelf and see. What about this one? Do you have some trees? Do you have some flowers? Maybe just a great sentiment you want to pop back there. Guys, whatever time frame you have, if you have a few minutes, you can make a now card. If you have just a few more and you want to create a really wow card, I've got you covered. And of course, we're going to knock their socks off with the Holy Cow.
Thanks again for being here, everybody. Can't wait to stamp with you next time. Bye-bye.